So here we go, YouTube. This is the 24 volt Ames inverter charger. This charger is a 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter, and it will surge up to 9000 watts for 20 seconds. This inverter has PFC built into it, power factor corrected. If you got a generator power and sending the power or the charge back into the unit to charge the battery bank, it'll power factor correct the dirty power, clean it up, send it into the batteries and charge it. An amazing product. Now, I live off-grid and I have for 10 years. This is what I'm going to call a Plan B. Plan B with me means that I already have an off-grid home and it's set up with top-of-the-line equipment for the powerhouse, and I am in no way connected to the utility. With this system, I'm going to call it Plan B, and we are in the man cave now. So, I got an ever-growing family with a wife and 2 small children that, in the end, it's a bigger power need, as when we came in here over 10 years ago, the kids were really small, and the power set up for the powerhouse worked, and it worked real well. We've replaced the batteries once, and it's time to replace them again for the second time. That's what brings me to this Plan B. As you can see above, there's an ongoing DIY power wall, soon to be 10 kilowatt. Right as of now, the blues are hooked up, and the pinks will be shortly. When they are, then that'll be a 10 kilowatt system. Presently it's 5. But in the 5 kilowatt system, this inverter right now is running down at the office of the man cave at the end. It's running my son's 32-inch TV, his Xbox One, a few other little components he's got plugged in for his phone and such. It runs this pellet stove. It's running the laptop over here, and maybe a few other little things, the little internet connection at the back. Works and runs fabulous, no issues. Again, we're in the man cave. I can plug this fridge in. It's a two-way fridge. It can run everything I need in here for the 5 kilowatt, although I don't get long out of it. I'm going to say I get a day out of that 5 kilowatt bank, and then it'll charge. With that said, this system is a 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter, 9000 watt surge. This inverter is absolutely amazing. Now, in the main powerhouse, I've got Cadillac equipment, but it cost a lot more money for this. So this would be what I'll call Plan B, and maybe help complete the need for more power where the boys are getting older. Both of them are 11 and 13 now. They're both running TVs steady. They're running their Xbox steady and their little their phones and such. So it makes it a little bit more power consumption on the house. So with that said, this is what we have. We have this inverter, and it is a 3000 watt, 9000 watt surge inverter charger, 24 volt, works and runs great. It's fabulous. This electrical lead goes into the panel, feeding power in to the building. This yellow cord feeds power out. Now, the biggest problem with this, or for the charge, for the yellow cord, from the other powerhouse or the other battery bank, so I'm charging batteries with batteries. Now, this has a neutral to bond. One issue with this inverter: it is fabulous, works great, very low cost compared to what I have running. This unit basically has a neutral to bond, and it's right here, 2 wires, they're green. I taped them over and tucked them back in and hid them away because I don't need the neutral to bond. That's based on having a boat or having maybe your own off-grid cabin or something like that, where you can only do neutral to bond ground one time. People have said they had problems with these, and that's why. If you have more than one neutral to ground bond, you're going to have what you call a ground loop or a neutral loop, what have you. With that said, it can and will damage this unit. So what I've done is I've taped these 2 pieces off, tucked them back in. This goes down and fed the panel. When it did, there was no neutral to bond in this panel. Eventually, I'm going to drop a lead from this panel down to the ground over to the main powerhouse, and that's going to be the neutral to bond in that panel board. If that panel board has neutral to bond, that's the only time in this off-grid home that's going to have neutral to bond. The main panel inside the house has the neutral to bond removed. If you read the manual on this, if you're having problems with one of these inverters, it's because you can only have one neutral to bond. As well as on this property, there's only one ground. Presently, this neutral to bond is floating. But this wire coming in has a ground from the powerhouse, which is the main ground that they'll all share in the end, and that's critical. If you're going to hook this unit up and you're going to run it, it's got to be neutral to bond once in the whole entire system. If you put more than one and it's not isolated, meaning not, if you have two, it's going to short out this inverter or do damage to it. It says in the manual. So keep that in mind, guys. Neutral to bond one time in the complete system, one ground in the whole property. So this is a man cave. There's the main house. Then there's the powerhouse. 3 different little dwellings here. Now in them 3 dwellings, there's one ground, one neutral to bond in the panel in the powerhouse. This panel, neutral to bond, has been removed. The panel in the main house, neutral to bond, has been removed. And the main panel inside the powerhouse is the only place that has a ground rod and a neutral to bond. Everything else is connected to that. So I hope this helps, guys. This is the 24 volt inverter, Ames inverter charger. Amazing product. Quarter of the price of what I paid for the other gear. Thought I'd try it, and you know what? You won't be disappointed. In my case, it's called a Plan B, and in my Plan B, this inverter charger, I can switch over from either one from the main powerhouse by flicking a switch and go to this battery bank, which is not ready yet because it ain't heavy enough of a battery bank, but I can switch over and service the one side, or I can flick over and service the other side. With that said, then you got what you call Plan B, and in my case, living off grid, that's the goal. So I hope this helps, guys. Remember, the neutral to bond is critical. The Ames inverter, very happy with it so far. An amazing product. That's it. That's all I got, YouTube.